Explain a little bit about the amazing group of parents and teachers and other staff within school that come together, and they have events across school. So our current event is the summer raffle that we have going at the moment. Some of the things that our young people have taken part in to raise money is a new set of staging for drama. You can see there. We're currently working to raise monies for our school library, to raise money to get enough new library text to interest you all. We also funded an ice cream van for our outgoing year 11 who had a very poor experience in terms of their time within school due to COVID isolation, the national lockdowns, and all students received a nice lolly or an ice cream at the end of the day. They've also funded a sound system and new cooking equipment for technology and a bank of iPads. The PSA need lots of volunteers and people who are willing to come forward and to help plan, create or manage events. So you can see there some pictures there from our summer fair that happened a couple of years ago. The Christmas fair is another opportunity that we're hoping to have, but we've also looked at COVID safe opportunities. We've had a quiz night that was online. There was an 80s night that happened a couple of years ago. So any of you that have really good ideas, good planners, if you know where to get bargains or sponsorship to support any of our events, you're able to support our events on social media, to run a stall, just about anything. Or if you just want to meet other like-minded parents and carers and staff, then you're very welcome to take part. You will receive an email after this meeting and there will be a link to an online form. If you would like to express your interest in being part of the PSA, please register it on this form and encourage as many of your friends to buy our raffle tickets for the grand prize draw that is being drawn in 2 weeks' time, just before the summer holiday, with some fantastic prizes. More information on our social media. So moving on then to think, what does September look like? Well, head teachers right across the country received an email last night saying that the expectation is that we would have a COVID-19 testing centre before students return. It's likely that we will invite year 6 moving into year 7 students into our testing centre on site on Monday the 6th of September. It's a staff inset day within school, but we'll invite year 7s early, those of you participating in the testing, to make sure that in September, if that's what's asked of us or required of us from the government, that we made every effort to make sure that we start the term COVID free as possible. We're visioning that on the Tuesday, because we've had to cancel the days at the end of this week, the face-to-face days, Tuesday the 7th of September, we plan to just bring in year 7 and year 11. This will allow us time to induct year 7 properly, to get them used to the systems and the layout of our school, to make sure that students catch the right bus home, and to ensure that there's an older student, year 11, to guide the students and to make sure they arrive safely at their destination. I've got 4 children of my own, and I remember when my eldest, who is now 19, started in year 7 at St Joseph's long before I was a head teacher. My biggest worry was about how she would get to school safely and how she would possibly arrive home. I understand that that's a great concern for parents, but it's easy for me to say on the other side of the fence now as head teacher, because I see students getting onto their buses and it just works incredibly well in terms of the bus bay once they know and understand the systems and routines. So that first day in September will be our opportunity to teach them, and then from then on it really will be plain sailing. Here's a little top tip. Just have a look at our video 4 on our transition website on YouTube, because that's got more details about where buses come from. Have a look as well at our school website. It's got links to Transport for Greater Manchester that gives the most up-to-date bus timetables that haven't yet been produced, but will be available usually sometime late July in August for you to have a look at the bus routes to and from our school. A good top tip is that you would need an IGO pass. It might sound crazy to ask that a school child under the age of 16, obviously because they're wearing a school uniform, needs proof of their age in order to get discounted travel. But please make sure that you apply for an IGO pass. There's an application form that looks like that. There's a link from the buses section of our school website. They cost £10. You'll need ID and you will need a photograph. You can take that along to the bus station in Bolton, or there is an online equivalent if you need it. Please check out our video 6 for more information on school uniform. Our uniform providers are listed on the school website and also in the information booklet that will come home after this presentation. Just a little word on some of the things that people sometimes get tripped up on. We try and be really reasonable and recognise that some of our young people wear the same footwear for school that they might need to wear at the weekends. So we do tolerate the shoes on the left-hand side of the screen there, and our description of a shoe is that it is black and that it is polishable, so you can put black polish on. There are no coloured labels, and that it's not a boot. It's not made of canvas, so you can see the ones on the right hand side that wouldn't be acceptable. But if you're in doubt, just ask yourself the question, can you put black polish on it? Is it all black? It's not a boot, so it doesn't cover the ankle, and no coloured labels on. If it fits that description, you'll be fine in September. Some of the things that sometimes people get tripped up on is not buying a skirt that is long enough. We ask you to buy the skirt to the knee. We have a big push within school. You might see some of our young people arrive into school with them slightly shorter than they need to be. We have a uniform inspection team on the front door welcoming students each day and making sure that they are worn to the right level. We ask that students wear hair colour of a natural colour, i.e. a colour that you could be born with if you had hair. And we also ask that there's no nail varnish, no false nails, and no visible piercings. So please don't have your ears pierced within the few weeks leading into September, because we will ask you to take those out on the first day of September. And if I'd had £1 for every young person that claimed they'd not heard that message, I'd be a very rich man. So please, if you're having any piercings, get them done now, then the time to heal, so you can remove those before September. We also ask that that young people don't wear a hoodie, particularly not under their blazer. We would encourage you to wear an outside coat and wear that outside the blazer. We don't prescribe a set colour for that. It's got to have a zip up the front to be determined as a coat. But think very carefully about student safety in terms of the dark evenings and mornings. And just a little bit about catering. We have Hutchinson's that are our outside caterers that provide in our dining room, and they are an amazing company. We have our chef, who is called James. If you've got any concerns about your child's allergies, please call into school and just ask to speak to James, our chef, and he will be more than happy to make sure his team cater to your needs. We talked a little bit about parent pay, and that uses biometrics and speeds up the process for lunches. In our transition booklet that you'll receive after this session, it will say that lunch times for year 7 and year 8 will be from 12 o'clock till 12:45. That's a separate lunchtime to upper school, year 9s to 11, which means that all our young people get a chance to buy their food and to be able to sit down and eat a substantial meal. We are delighted to be able to sell our summer school, which is actually absolutely free to all our year 6s. And this will take place in the last week of our summer holiday, from the 29th of August, which is a Tuesday following the August bank holiday, to the 2nd of September. This week-long event, or 4-day-long event, is totally free to all young people. It's an opportunity for young people to get to know the staff within school. We'll have a real focus on literacy and numeracy, but in a fun, dynamic way. There'll be a focus on mental health and well-being, and it's an opportunity to challenge the young people to do something new and to put themselves outside their comfort zone. Could I please ask that if you're intending to do that, to secure your place, you let us know by filling in the online form, which again, straight after this presentation, we'll email to you with a link to our summer school booking. This Friday would be the day that our last day of our students' face-to-face time within school. Now, we regret the fact that we're not able to do that because the new government guidelines for our area. But we are going to invite all our young people at 2 p.m. this Friday to take part in a virtual welcome service. We understand that might be difficult for some people, so if you're really not able to join us, don't worry about that. But we've asked some of our partner primaries to join us and to lead that with class sessions. An email will follow later this evening again with the joining instructions for that, so please watch out for those. Finally, from me, just a really important message about some things that I wish that I had been told when my children were in year 7. And maybe one thing that I didn't realize is that my 11-year-old would actually grow up and develop in ways that I never thought that they would. It's called growing up, but for some reason, I never quite expected it. I never expected the challenges upon my own children from social media and from the world out there. And I know that sometimes I look at social media and I use that as a mirror of my life and almost say, mirror, mirror on Facebook, tell me the way that my life should look. And I don't know about you, but I sometimes get fed up of seeing all these people really enjoying life. And I look at my own life and think, that's not always true of me. You see, people always present a part of their life that they think the world wants to see. But the reality of it is that we all suffer sometimes from low self-esteem. And psychology tells us that teenagers will then go through a period of time where they might look at themselves and they might think that they become hyper aware of their own self-image. And that's exacerbated with the world of social media, where we look at the fact that everybody seems to have touched up their appearance on social media. Believe it or not, I have on this Zoom call. I'm not nearly so young in real life. But you see, people want to present a certain image of themselves, and the pressure to be what's expected of them for young people can sometimes be extremely tough. Mirror, mirror on Instagram, tell me who they think I am. Mirror, mirror on Snapchat, tell me, am I really that fat? Our young people are so controlled by the view of what people think of them out there that the pressure can be really great. In school, we have a no mobile phones visible policy, but we recognise that young people bring mobile phones into school. You will see that Gavin Williamson and the government are talking a lot about mobile phone use within school. We know that students will bring them. We're not stopping them bringing them, but we are saying, please don't switch them on during the school day. Sometimes a young person might need to use their mobile phone to tell a parent or carer to pick them up from an after-school club. That's totally fine. If a child needs to look at the phone for any reason, they can do, as long as it's within the supervision of an adult within school. If they do take it out without that permission, we will take the phone off them and put that into reception for collection at the end of the day. And parents will be informed of repeat offenders. One of the reasons that we want our students to survive throughout the 6 hours they're in school without a mobile phone is to try and encourage them to be able to solve and to be able to adjust to life themselves. And it reminds me of a story that I heard a few years ago about a girl called Sally. You see, Sally had a goldfish, and Sally's mum loved the fact that Sally was passionate about looking after and caring for this goldfish. Until one day, Sally's goldfish, called Jerry, was one day looking a little bit sorry for himself. And then he started to look a bit sleepy and started to disappear and gradually sink to the bottom of the goldfish bowl. Sally was very concerned about this and said to Mum, and Mum was deeply distressed about Sally's distress too, but said, don't worry, I'm sure Jerry will be okay in the morning. What happened later that night, Sally went to bed and Sally's mum went straight to Pets R Us. And in a scene seen a million times before by that Pets R Us worker, Sally's mum described the goldfish that she was going to buy a replica of. She bought an exact replica and took it home. The following morning, Sally woke up, looked into the goldfish bowl and said, Mum, Jerry's happy again. And he's even a little bit fatter than he was before. He must have had a good meal. Sally's mum smiled to herself in a happy way. a happy way that she'd resolved a problem for a young daughter, the problem of a goldfish dying. But in doing so, Sally's mum had stepped in and actually deprived Sally the opportunity to grow. One day, Sally will face death within her own life, and Sally's mum has deprived Sally from the opportunity of dealing with that emotion and coming to terms with the facts of life. Our young people will face difficult times in their time at St Joseph's. We know that you, as parents and carers, want to step alongside to support and help them. We are here as a team to help support your child. But if they are worried, or if you're worried about your child, first thing that we ask you to do is to tell your child to speak to their form tutor or a teacher or a member of staff within school that they feel that they have a connection with. If you're still worried, call into school to speak to their form tutor or their subject teacher if it's about a subject issue. If you're still concerned, please speak to a student service team member. So we have some non-teachers on our pastoral team that are available to take your call. And if Mrs. Wheel isn't available, then they will pass the message to her so that we can get a resolution to support you. In the meantime, though, Miss Prunty's already described the transition email address. So please let us know if there's anything that we can do to put a bespoke solution for your child. One thing that we ask you not to do is, if you have difficulties, please don't post the problem on social media or believe that everything you read on social media or everything that your child tells you is always the case. Don't assume that you have the whole story. We don't in school, but we know by working with parents, carers and young people that we can resolve a problem in a far better way. We're all on the same side. We all want the best for your young person. And when we work together, we know we'll achieve far better outcomes. We're going to end just with this short reflection that I came across again a couple of years ago. And it's about how an eagle learns to fly. It goes, come to the edge. We can't. We're afraid.